Well, I never thought I'd be making this type of video, but I guess there's a first time for everything. Two years ago, when I started this project, I had quite a concept in mind to try and bring you guys, the hobbyists, content that really I felt was severely lacking in the industry, and trying to get news and, going around visiting ponds and visiting Japan. And do all of this content and put it out in the magazine for free. And as it's evolved and as it's gone on, lots of things have changed. The industry's changed. Like in the last 2 years, there's been so many new things, so many discussions, so many points that have been spoken about on this channel, on other people's channels. And I guess what I really want to get in today, when I started this business 2 years ago, it was really from a hobbyist background. I mean, for myself, I've always felt like there's an opportunity to do something professionally and have a business for putting out digital content that could be an opportunity for the trade to come on, tell their side of the story, promote their brands, and also to follow on hobbyist journeys and do the Japan visiting and things that we've done on this channel. And I've truly enjoyed it. And one of the things I've enjoyed the most about this journey over the last 2 years has been following on the progression of the hobbyists that I've been working with, and visited, and learning about all these different stories in England. And we should be so proud of the industry that we have in this country. As I've gone on and as I'm 2 years into this, there has been like a shift in the industry towards what the koi perspective is. And to be honest, even myself, I'm, thinking about what the future is now. As you can tell by like the title of this video, there's going to be some big changes coming for the business. It's kind of one of them things, anybody out there who knows, like when you start a business, when you start anything, things change. Your concept of what it is going to be changes and adapts to what people are asking you to do. And I've always wanted to put out content that the hobbyists want to enjoy, that they resonate with, and cover things that are trending in the industry. There's been a lot of things this year, particularly on the podcast, let's say. That's been a huge success. I've done that for a year, launched it in the new year, so we're coming up to 1 year. And we've covered stories on there that, have essentially, not been good for the koi perspective, to say that, because it polarizes a lot of the advertisers in the magazine. But I want to put that content out because it's what you guys deserve, and that's covering, new food products, covering, products that are new to market, or covering trending topics. There was the whole backyard koi dealer saga there. That was a huge one. Things along the way that I suppose have made it difficult for me to be this news outlet for big brands to come on board and to feel like they can be a part of this journey. But I wouldn't change a thing that I've done in the last 2 years. I wouldn't change anything. I have no regrets. I think one of the big things that I will be considering, like going forward, one of the big things that everybody keeps asking me about is what is coming next. I put it out in my digital mag that's going to be the last one that I've done. And I understand to a lot of people, it's not only just YouTube that the koi perspective exists in. It's not only, this platform, it's the podcast as well. And people have kind of built it into their weeks, weekends, Sunday mornings, rituals with a coffee. And, I've seen huge growth in the Spotify area, Apple Music, people picking up the podcast there. And not even just in England, we've seen people picking up the magazine in Europe, Japan, the USA is a huge market. And I really want to try to capture some of these stories, even potentially overseas if the stars can line up to facilitate me to go and capture these stories. But I think a lot of people possibly don't realise that this is my full-time job. I've made a full-time commitment to this business, and to essentially make a magazine, a digital mag that goes out free to people every single month. It's propped up by the advertisers, and for my advertisers, they want to put finance into this for good marketing and, to potentially earn something back from it. And if they see me promoting things that the hobbyists want to see, sometimes that doesn't quite align with what, my advertisers will want versus what the hobbyists want. Those two things can be viewed very, very separately. And there are a certain amount of businesses that I think have really, really enjoyed being a part of the Koi Perspective and have really engaged with it and have supported it from day one. But I think we're at a time now with the Koi Perspective where whatever I do going forward cannot be reliant on the trade. It has to be supplemented by the trade. I want to work with partners in the industry who want to work with the Koi Perspective, but I want to also produce something that essentially is supported by the hobbyists and back myself that I'm going to be producing something that's going to be loved and well received by the hobbyists. When I started this business 2 years ago, a lot of you won't know me. I suppose a good place for me to start is to thank you. I'm talking to you because you're watching right now, and that is essentially supporting what I'm doing. If you're watching this or listening to this, you are supporting it. Even if you go in and leaving a dislike button, you are supporting this journey by giving me a view on this. But it's been 2 years since I started this business, and I truly believe that a lot of you 2 years ago won't have even know who I am. And now when I visit a koi show, when I visit a pond in, even when I was in Japan, people recognize me, and that's really cool. They feel like they know who I am. I feel like we've built a connection with each other, even though I don't even know who you are on the opposite end of the screen. And to be almost like in people's weekly rituals of Sunday morning podcast, first of the month magazine, content on YouTube, that kind of stuff. It's what I set out to do from the start, is to position myself in the industry for the hobbyist and to build myself into the Hobbyist Week and to be like this bubble of content where people can get monthly content, they can get weekly content from the podcast, and to almost, if there's something new happening in the industry or a trending subject, whether that be a new koi food or new products to market or Japan koi shows or anything that is, I wanted them to think about the Koi Perspective, and the Koi Perspective became their first port of call to find out about something new. And so it's really awesome that I've been able to build that kind of like place in the industry. One of the things I am learning as I go on is that this level of niche where somebody's willing to sit and listen to me talk about koi, it's really quite small when you look at the amount of people in the industry that are willing to kind of think about koi the way that me and you do right now. My business is essentially propped up by advertisers, and I've worked with some of the UK's best dealers, manufacturers, you name it. Like, I've been involved with pretty much all of the best. I've lost a lot of advertisers due to some of the content that I put out, because it can be quite polarizing at times. When I'm promoting things that this dealer can't sell, but he can and he can't, and they're putting money into my magazine and they want returns out of it. And it's been really hard, as you can imagine, to facilitate that battle internally, because the Koi Perspective is always with the hobbyist in mind. Because I'm a hobbyist, got 2 ponds outside that window and they drive me crazy, by the way. But I am who I built this magazine for, and so are you on the other side of the screen. So yeah, the business has to change now. 2 years in, I feel like everything is pointing in the right direction. The content that I'm making, the amount of time that I put into this is absolutely ridiculous. I think a lot of people probably think I just do this on the side and I've got some other passive income, but this is my full-time thing. And even recently been in Japan, I come back from Japan, and then I've got to always be thinking months in ahead, like the monthly pace of it all, to do it. And then to manage my social media and everything else, my website, email lists, you name it. I mean, anybody out there who runs a business or owns a business out there, it's small business syndrome, and I'm learning really quickly how to manage all of these different fascias of the business. And I suppose it's kind of like jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I want to do all of these things and be really good at doing a magazine, doing a podcast, and all these kind of things. The Digital Koi Show, that was another thing I've done this year. I've got another plan for another kind of event of the year next year. So I've got all these ideas, but I'm a one-man band at the end of the day. As much as my wife, Holly, she helps me a lot with things, but, I'm also a father. I have a child who's 18, 19 months now, and I'm balancing that. I take one day off a week to look after him, so I'm doing 4-day weeks, and it's just a lot. And I don't want this to become a sob story, but I know there'll be a lot of people who have, again, as I've mentioned, ingrained the Koi perspective into what their week looks like. They wake up, they listen to the podcast on a Monday commute. The amount of people who message me on that Monday morning who must be travelling to work. And I've been there. I used to wake up on a Monday morning and look for the podcast in my podcast app and listen to it. Not the Koi perspective, the other podcast that was available at that time. And the one time that it didn't release, I'd be so devastated because I'd have nothing to listen to that morning. And I'm hoping that I've become that for some of you out there. And I'm seeing huge growth in certain areas, Spotify, Apple Music, we're available on all these places and things I couldn't have even dreamed of not so long ago. So yeah, huge thank you again, guys, for tuning in. And let's, look back at some of the content that I've done. You'll see it overlaying over this video. And, I'm so proud of being able to visit so many of these places and so many people who have wanted to be involved, and I haven't had the time to do it. And I've had to let a lot of people down because I've been so busy trying to do all of these different things and spin all of these plates. But I've visited some amazing bands and some massive highlights and some massive lows as well. I don't want to get too soppy into it, but you do get imposter syndrome. And when I put my face on this social media, it's like when I put my face on YouTube, always, every single video, I get someone in the comments. And it's difficult. Like, I try to tell myself you can turn off from it all the time. You can always put on a brave face. But in this day and age, I think it's quite acceptable of me to come on here and just say, like, eventually some days you have down days. And some guy hiding behind a fake profile picture with an anonymous name saying these horrible things, like, the amount of gossip in this industry as well can be really toxic, even dealer to dealer. Like, it can be so toxic. And that's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. Like, some people can deal with it and some people can't. I'm quite open about it and I talk to people all the time. It's something that on your down days, it gets to you and it grinds you, but you've just got to move on and see past it. And for me, like, I look at all the positives. Even though I can be quite a glass half empty kind of guy when it comes to, products and Koi products and things. If you listen to the podcast, you'll know that's just how I am. But generally, when I look at the Koi perspective, I've got glass half full kind of guy, and I look at all the positive things and all the things that I'm doing, and I can see the brands that are working with me the most, the biggest brands. Big shout out to Awaza this year for sponsoring a lot of the content that we're doing. But then I look at the things we've done, with other brands and that have been so positive, and the reactions that we've had and people talking about it. I'm in some WhatsApp channels for a lot of the group chats that are in the dealerships, and when the videos come out, I'll see people talking about them in all the WhatsApp groups and things. So it's really, really nice and heartwarming. So again, it's not like there's negative things, but at this point that I'm at, for the amount of time that I'm putting in, I have to explore other ways of trying to finance all of this and to essentially pay my bills at the end of the month. And I want to as a dad, you guys will appreciate that I can't just run around making this content for a little amount of money at the end of the month. Like, I have to pay the bills. That has to be something I look at. And so I've been exploring different ways that I could essentially, like, monetize the business. And because everything that I do is for free, right? From the hobbyist perspective, you get all of this for £0. Like, I do this for free, and it always has been. That's the intention. I set the business up is to be that. But I'm looking at other ways that I can give something more to you guys, and I can't give it away just yet because right now I don't want to sell a dream. So I'm working on it. The last digital mag has gone out now. That is it. You will not receive another free digital mag from the Koi perspective as it stands. But hopefully it's not the last you've heard from me. So let's pick this up in a few weeks. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas and New Year, and I'll see you soon.